Today, I have stood where once Jefferson Davis stood.
If somebody came to Arkansas and told us what to do with our flag, we'd tell them where to put the pole.
We are defending the right of the people of Virginia and of Alabama to decide some questions for themselves.
We have a 10th Amendment to the Constitution, but you'd never know it by the policies of Washington.
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
The purpose of the military is kill people and break things.
All lives matter.
The Supreme Court is not the supreme being.
All right, you win. This is why Mike Huckabee will never be president. Howdy gang, it's hard to huck-a-believe, but just 8 years ago, former Arkansas governor and current 10th place Republican candidate Mike Huckabee actually won the Iowa caucuses and pulled second place in the Republican primary against John McCain. Back then, he introduced himself to the American people as a folksy, charming, simple man with simple values and a simple understanding of basic science.
You and two of your colleagues indicated that you do not believe in evolution.
I'm not planning on writing the curriculum for an 8th grade science book. I'm asking for the opportunity to be President of the United States.
And clearly, you need way more qualifications to be an 8th grade science teacher than to be President of the United States. In fact, I'd say it's about time my 8th grade science teacher, Miss Kowalski, solved the refugee crisis. As soon as she's done teaching 14-year-olds the rock cycle for the 5th time. But the point is that Mike Huckabee doesn't have time to come up with complicated scientific answers to scientific questions. When it comes to sizing up Mike Huckabee on the issues, one size fits all. Racism?
And I keep hearing people talk about we need more conversations about race. Actually, we don't need more conversations. What we need is conversions.
Gun control?
We ask why there's violence in our schools, but we've systematically removed God from our schools.
Gay marriage? Constitutional ambiguity? Whether he would run for president in 2012 when he actually had a chance?
It is a biblical issue.
And that's what we need to do, is to amend the Constitution so it's in God's standards.
For me, the discussion and decision is ultimately not a political one. It's not a financial one. It's not even a practical one. It's a spiritual one.
In times of crisis, I will consult Vice President Jesus, Secretary of State the Lord, and of course, I will take Attorney General the Bible's opinion into consideration as well. It's no wonder that Mike Huckabee's most recent book was titled God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy. Although, if it's based on his policy positions, maybe it should have been called God, 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 and God. But that's Mike Huckabee's style. He's such a down-to-earth, Christian, rustic guy. And he's got a wacky Southern sense of humor to boot.
Everybody who comes up to me says, I just want you to know, my wife and I, we voted for you. Look, folks, if everybody who says they voted for me actually voted for me, I'd be running around with Sarah Palin right now.
If elected president, would you keep Janet Yellen?
Well, my wife's name's Janet. And when you say Janet Yelling, I'm very familiar with what you mean.
Now, I wish someone had told me when I was in high school that I could have felt like a woman when it came time to take showers in PE. I'm pretty sure I would have found my feminine side and said, Coach, I think I'd rather shower with the girls today.
But the reality is, and I'm worried because, frankly, that was Barack Obama. He just tripped off a chair. He's getting ready to speak, and somebody aimed a gun at him, and he dove for the floor.
Okay, so he's a little bit of a huckabigot. But that's the thing about Mike Huckabee. He seems so likable and cool, and then he just casually reveals something horrible that he believes in at the last minute. It's like having Pol Pot as your goofy uncle. So many conflicting emotions. Now let's see what America's fuzziest governor has to say, for example, about this 10-year-old girl in Paraguay who was raped by her stepfather and is now pregnant and is seeking to have an abortion.
A 10-year-old girl being raped is horrible. But
okay, Mike, stop right there. No sentence should ever begin with a 10-year-old girl being raped is horrible, but. That's like saying, I'm not racist, but, or I don't support the mass genocide of men who wear bow ties, but. These are not sentences that should require qualification. But Please go on.
A 10-year-old girl being raped is horrible. But does it solve a problem by taking the life of an innocent child?
Hey, you know what? Mike Huckabee's right on this one. Two wrongs just don't make a right. And after all, who can really tell the difference between the life of this child and this one? It's a wash. Oh, wait a minute. That is actually the zygote of a chicken, which Mike Huckabee consumes on a daily basis as part of his ritual honey butter chicken biscuit. But it doesn't matter. Mike Huckabee is consistent on this issue. There is value in human life. Until you turn 18, at which point...
The purpose of the military is kill people and break things.
Now look, I know I'm cherry picking. I know I'm just taking quotes that the liberal media has coerced Mike Huckabee into saying, and it's just not fair. So why don't we take a look at his announcement speech when he's speaking on his own terms.
I grew up in a small town that was far removed from the power, the money, and the influence that runs this country.
And you know I stuck to my values because I still don't have power, money, or influence.
At Brookwood Elementary School, I learned the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lord's Prayer, and the preamble of the Constitution.
One of these things is not like the others.
So when I hear our current president say he wants Christians to get off their high horse so we can make nice with radical jihadists, I wonder if he could watch a Western from the 50s and be able to figure out who the good guys and the bad guys really are.
Yeah, 1950s Westerns are super morally unambiguous. It's very simple. Cowboys versus Indians. One group is a savage, terrible, murderous people that will stop at nothing to get their barbaric rituals done, and the other ones are the bad guys. Still though, even as Mike Huckabee reveals more and more layers of the poopy parfait that is his ideology, I still can't help but feel bad about making fun of him like this. I mean, he seems like such a nice guy, he's lost a lot of weight. Here's a picture of him from back when his book was still titled Gravy, 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 and Gravy. And in general, he's not that much of a threat. He's in 10th place right now for the Republican nomination, 2 points behind Jeb Bush and 29 points behind the frontrunner. Let's take a moment to think about how freaking crazy that is. That's freaking crazy! And that's just the way the numbers fall. And that is why Mike Huckabee will never Huckabee huck a president.